Hello friends! Welcome to a new series of lessons about rhythm. In the 3 classes in this section, you will learn how to read and write rhythm from scratch. I'm sure you'll love these lessons because we'll use online tools to practice. Let's begin! Have you noticed that musicians begin counting from 1 to 4 before they start playing? They do this because they want to establish the speed at which everyone should play and show when they should start playing so everyone starts playing at the same time. But have you wondered why they count to 4? I'll answer that question later. In a future lesson, you'll learn that depending on the song, you may need to count to another number. In the examples for this class, we'll always count from 1 to 4 before we begin playing. When we count, we might not be that precise. Therefore, we use a tool called a metronome, which is a device that produces a constant and precise sound at the desired speed. The metronome works like a heart, because it produces a constant beat that forms the foundation for the music that will be played. We have created for you an online metronome at sessiontown.com. It has some advanced features for the study of complex rhythms. You can find the link to the virtual metronome below the video. Let's hear the metronome playing 4 beats. Click on the play button to start the metronome. In music, we use the Italian word tempo, which means time, to refer to the speed of a composition. The tempo is measured in beats per minute, or BPM for short. A 60 BPM tempo means 60 beats in 1 minute, or 1 beat every second. Let's hear 4 beats of the metronome at 60 BPM. A 120 BPM tempo means 120 beats in 1 minute, or 2 beats per second. Let's hear 4 beats at 120 BPM. The bigger the number, the faster the tempo. You can set the speed of the metronome by changing the number in the tempo column. If you don't know the BPM number of a desired speed, you can click on the tab button several times at the speed you need, and the number will be calculated automatically. You will find that some compositions use an Italian word to mark the tempo. Words like andante, allegro, moderato, presto, and others indicate the speed of the rhythm in a more general way. For example, the word presto means quick, and any speed between 170 BPM and 200 BPM will work. It is up to the musician to select the exact speed between the recommended numbers. Let's begin with some examples. Remember that the metronome will play 4 beats before each example. As you can hear, every symbol on the staff sounds at the same time as every beat of the metronome. The duration of each sound is represented by a symbol. The symbols used to represent the duration of sounds are called note values. The British name used for each note value that you see on the staff is the crotchet, while the American name is the quarter note. On the staff, you can see 8 quarter notes or crotchets. We can conclude that each quarter note or crotchet lasts 1 beat. This note symbol is formed by a vertical line called a stem and an oval called a note head, or simply head. The position of the note head on the staff marks the pitch or musical note. If the head is above the third line on the staff, the stem will go downward and to the left of the note head. If the head is below the third line of the staff, the stem will go upward and to the right of the note head. The following example uses a new note symbol. Let's hear. In the example, you can see 4 quarter notes followed by 8 new symbols. The American term for this new symbol is eighth note, but it has nothing to do with the fact that there are 8 of them on the staff. You can have only 2, and the name would still be eighth note. The British term for this new symbol is quaver. Each eighth note lasts half a quarter note. We need 2 quavers to complete 1 beat. The visual difference with quarter notes is that eighth notes can be grouped together with a horizontal line called a beam. Eighth notes don't always have to be joined with a beam. The purpose of the beam is to facilitate reading. This is how they look without beams. The symbol that replaces the beam is called the flag. The sound doesn't change if we use beams or flags. It's all about making reading easier. Every time 8 notes are together in 1 or 2 beats, they should use the beam instead of the flag. Let's learn a new symbol. Here we have 2 quarter notes followed by 4 eighth notes, and then 16 new note symbols grouped with a double beam. The American name for this type of note is 16th note, but remember that you can have 2 of these and the name would still be 16th note. The British name is semiquaver. 16th notes last half an eighth note. We need 4 16th notes to complete 1 beat. The visual difference between 8th notes and 16th notes is that 16th notes use a double beam when grouped together. Again, we group them together to facilitate reading, but these notes can also be separated. When separated, they are differentiated by a double flag. In the following example, the 16 new symbols at the end are called 32nd notes or demisemiquavers. The 32nd note lasts half a 16th note. When grouped together, it uses a triple beam. When not joined, it uses 3 flags. We need 8 32nd notes to complete 1 beat. As you can see, every note symbol that I teach you lasts half of the previous note we discussed. The 64th note or hemidemisemiquaver lasts half a 32nd note and uses 4 beams or flags. However, the quarter note we started with isn't the symbol that represents the longest duration. Let's hear a new example. The 2 symbols at the end of the staff are called half notes or minims. The visual difference between this note and the quarter note is that the head is empty. This symbol represents a double quarter note, which means it lasts for 2 beats. The whole note or semibreve lasts 4 beats, and it is visually differentiated because it doesn't have a stem. In summary, the American name of each note symbol is the duration relative to the whole note. A half note is half a whole note, which means we need 2 half notes to complete the duration of a whole note. The quarter note is a fourth of a whole note, so we need 4 to complete the duration of a whole note, and so on. I recommend that you pause the video and take time to draw and memorize the name and duration of each one of these rhythmic symbols. I assure you that all the effort learning these names and symbols will be rewarded with all the music you'll be able to read. Music tends to organize rhythm with patterns that repeat continuously. The natural accent in those patterns let us organize the music in small segments or groups of beats that we call measures or bars. A lot of music is created with an accent or a strong beat every 4 beats, followed by 3 weak beats. That is why we count from 1 to 4 before we begin playing. Have you noticed that the metronome plays an accent every 4 beats? Let's hear 12 beats played by the metronome. The group of 4 beats starting with the accent is what we call a measure or bar. On the staff, we use a vertical line called the bar line, or simply the bar, to divide music in measures. Because we are using measures of 4 beats, the sum of the note symbols in each measure must be exactly 4 beats. When the music ends, we use a double line called a final bar line. Many compositions use 3, 5, 7, and other numbers of beats per measure. To keep it simple, the examples in this lesson use 4 beats per measure. In a later video, you will learn more about other types of measures. In music, it is as important to play music as it is to be quiet. Every musician has to learn to be quiet with rhythm. We use rests to know when to be silent. Each note symbol has a corresponding rest. The following example has 3 measures. The first measure contains 2 quarter notes, followed by a quarter rest or crotchet rest, and then another quarter note on the 4th beat. The second measure contains a whole rest or semibreves rest, which means we must be quiet for 4 beats. The third measure contains a half note that lasts 2 beats, and then a half rest or minim rest that also lasts 2 beats. As you can see, the quarter rest seems like a lightning bolt. The whole rest is a small rectangle below the 4th line, and the half rest is the same small rectangle but above the 3rd line. Let's hear. The 8th, 16th, 32nd, and 64th rests are represented as you see on the screen. These rests are not joined with a beam as we do with the notes. I recommend that you pause the video and draw and memorize the rests. In the next lesson, we'll have fun reading different rhythms using all you have learned in this class. Don't worry if you don't know how to read and write any rhythms yet. It's normal. In the next lesson, your patience and effort learning these symbols will be rewarded because you will be able to read and write rhythms. Please share this music course with your friends, family, and fellow musicians, and thanks for clicking the thumbs up button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media to be the first to know about new content. Happy learning!